Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you guys are having a great day. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Rocket, thanks for joining. Oh, he disappeared. And then he was there. Cody, how are you today, man? Thanks for joining. Party at Steve's house. Absolutely. Come and join the party. I see the bards.
Party on, Steve.
Yeah. I figured we'd bring a little bit of music just to this space. Why not? How are you doing?
I have a sneaky suspicion that big giant purple square that says Evergrow, I would like to bet 5 whole lucro that is Rocket.
Do you think that's Rocket?
I'm willing to put on the line a large amount here. 5 whole lucro.
Awesome. Rocket, if that is you, thank you for joining so much. Let's give a quick shout out to everybody who joins in. You guys are loyal listeners every single week. I really appreciate it. Evergo Love, The Bard, of course, Michael Carver, Onyx, Joel M, CWP, High Savior, Will, Exponential Evergrow, and of course, Taxi Man is here. Art0311. I don't think I've seen you here before, but welcome very much. And Kryptonic. Let's see. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more. Demi G, an alien. Thanks for being here, of course. Datalicious. I don't think I've seen you here before, but Ep Hopkins, I've seen you here many times. Thanks for being here. Cody, what's new in your world?
Work, my
Always.
friend. Not too much outside of that. Just Saturday. Did the yard work earlier this week, so I didn't have to do it today.
That's a good feeling.
I'm glad that I did that. But just, work.
Awesome. Hopefully good progress and get a little bit of time for you and the fam this weekend.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, like I said, thank you guys for joining. I see it looks like Crash BNB just joined in too. Thank you. Habibi the Pug, EGC Mike, and Fox Lima Bravo. Welcome, guys, for another space. Here we are. What is it now? Space number 46. Of course, what do we do? Talk about Evergrow. Utilities, including LunaSky NFT Marketplace, Evergrow Staking, Lucro Games, and Atlas Wallet. Cannot wait till it's more than those 4 things. Like I said, hope you guys had a great week. And every week we get just closer and closer to new utility releases, which gets me super pumped and excited, really positive. I hope you guys feel the same way. So before we get into new stuff, Cody, is there anything you'd like to talk about real briefly, or any stuff that's been going on in your world?
Well, I would actually. And the one thing I would like to know is, how are you doing, sir? How is Evergrow Steve?
I'm doing good. I'm busy, really busy. This job that I'm on right now for the last 3-4 months. I'm at the San Diego International Airport, and they're building a new terminal building. And so the normally inspection is pretty straightforward stuff, right? You go in, you get your dispatch, you show up at the job, you know what you're kind of going to be doing. Sometimes they don't give you all the info, but that's normal. Show up, do your job, do your inspection, write a report, call it a day, right? And everybody's happy. This job is very, very heavy administrative. So I spend probably 20% doing inspection and 80% doing paperwork and administrative. It's usually the other way around. 80% inspection, 20% administrative. So it's a little stressful, but hey, I got you guys to hang around with, so that makes me feel a lot better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mentioned it in the space last week, but I'm starting up a home inspection business too. I've been laying the groundwork for that for the last year, getting all the certifications I need, kind of the tools I need. I'm very much I plan ahead. I want to line up all my ducks, make sure when I get in, it's all legit. You know what I mean? I'm not going to show up with a screwdriver at a home inspection and say I'm a home inspector.
Yeah, absolutely. Best of luck with that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, appreciate it very much. So yeah, what about you, Cody? I mean, you like you said, you did a little bit of yard work today, and was it a busy week for you, more than normal, or about the same?
I would say about the same. A lot of Evergrow, LunaSky, etc. stuff as usual. Excited to talk about some of that here shortly. Personal life stuff is good. Did the 4th of July
Yeah.
thing.
Did you guys do fireworks at home, or did you go to something, or?
We did not this year. Reason being is the kids are away with the grandparents, so it's just myself and the fiance, and we just relaxed. That's the day, actually, I spent the whole day taking care of the yard, so I didn't have to do it this weekend. But yeah, I mean, I think the majority of my waking hours right now, I think what they're committed to outside of my personal responsibilities. So yeah, a lot of good stuff with Evergrow, a lot of good stuff with Luna Sky this
Yeah,
week,
nice.
definitely.
You didn't sneak off to
Yeah,
Florida and grab yourself an Evergrow burger, did
not
you?
yet. I will be going soon to pick up the kids in Florida, and I'm really trying to talk the lady into a 3-hour detour for that burger.
I have a
We'll
feeling
see.
it'll be worth it.
I have a feeling it will be too, and that's what I've been saying. So I am taking any suggestions on how to convince her to take a 3-hour out of the way detour to get an Evergrow Man burger.
Oh,
Please DM me. Let me know. I'm looking for feedback here.
yeah.
Looking for
Let's see.
suggestions.
She's got to have her weak points too. Like like with my wife, it's shoes and detours to like maybe a makeup place or something that's kind of a little bit out of the way or yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I still got to get her some Christian Louboutin shoes that I've been promising her for the last 10 years. So yeah,
Oh my good. Count the clock is ticking, my
exactly,
friend.
exactly. So maybe that might be my excuse. Well, I got to go to this place and it's in Naples, and that's only
Yeah, there's this place. I got to stop by there on the way. I hope you don't mind. It's down in Naples. It's only like 16 hours away, but 3 hours out of the way.
exactly.
I think
That's the only place that got your size
only take a
though, so I got
second.
to go there.
Yeah, yeah. It only take a second. You can stay in the car if you. I mean, I'd like you to come in, but
Exactly, right on. Yeah, so I haven't seen. Have you seen any pictures of anybody getting a burger and getting a photo so they can get their half a billion Evergrow?
I have not
Mm,
yet. No.
yeah.
Have you?
No, I've been keeping an eye out too. It'd be nice to see. I think Sam said the first five, or was it 10 people that would get 500 million Evergrow?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure. I have to go back and look and
Yeah,
see.
that'd be awesome. Yeah, cool. Well, man, I'm glad you had a great week, rather. So yeah, it's cool. So we'll just get right
Thank you.
into so we usually start with news, right? If anybody has anything they want to bring up real quick before we get rolling, by all means, just raise your hand and we will get rolling. So yeah, in terms of news, this one was kind of interesting. Of course, we heard about FTX over the last few months and all that stuff with everything that went on. But what I didn't realize is that Tom Brady, for his little promotion, he lost about 30 million in FTX stock after the company's collapse. This was a Yahoo Sports article. So he is one of several celebrities and athletes named in a lawsuit against the company. Tom Brady apparently lost millions after the cryptocurrency company FTX collapsed in the fall. The longtime NFL quarterback served as an ambassador for FTX and frequently appeared in commercials for the company. As part of the deal, the now defunct company, the New York Times reported on Friday, he was paid $30 million, mostly in the form of FTX stock. Brady's ex-wife, supermodel Giselle Bundchen, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, she received apparently $18 million in FTX stock too. But since FTX is obviously bankrupt and its founder, SBF, is now facing criminal charges, that stock is now pretty much completely worthless. So yeah, in the New York Times quoted, I would never have expected to decline a call from Tom Brady, Nader told the New York Times, but saying that he was in a crisis meeting with Sam Bankman-Fried and the other at the time, and he later called Brady back and said that the former quarterback was concerned. Brady and Bunchen are just a few of the celebrities facing a lawsuit from a group of FTX customers who are upset with the endorsement for the company. Comedian Larry David, tennis star Naomi Osaka, and Golden State Warrior Steph Curry, among others, all promoted the company in commercials and are now named in the lawsuit. NBA Hall of Famer Shaquille O'Neal promoted it too, and even reportedly went to great lengths to be served in the lawsuit before process servers finally tracked him down at an NBA game earlier this spring. So Bankman-Fried was arrested in January. Obviously, we all know this, charged with wire fraud, securities fraud, money laundering, and more. FTX had reached a deal to be the primary sponsor for the Miami Heat Arena, but that deal was ended after the company's collapse. It's now called the Kaseya Center. Brady and Bunchen starred in a $20 million advertising campaign for FTX, per the report, and Brady even posted TikToks with Bankman-Fried from the company's headquarters in the Bahamas. According to the New York Times as well, pop star Taylor Swift was in discussion with FTX for the deal that could have paid her as much as $100 million. She even signed the deal with FTX, but Bankman-Fried pulled out in the end, something that left her team frustrated and disappointed. So yeah, well, I'm sure Tom Brady still ended up making a few bucks on this deal, probably nowhere near as much as he thought was going to get, was promised. Interesting stuff. So yeah, careful who you promote, I guess. And I guess those stock deals, sometimes they work really, really good, sometimes not so good. So this one I thought was kind of an interesting deal with Binance, actually. This is also from Yahoo.
Officials at Binance have departed the crypto exchange this week as the company prepares to defend itself on multiple fronts. This is according to a report by Fortune. Joining me now to discuss is CoinDesk Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor Nick Day, who is also the editor of CoinDesk's State of Crypto newsletter. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning.
Happy Friday.
Dan, too, yeah.
Thank you very much. It's not a happy Friday for Binance. The publication said Binance's general counsel, chief strategy officer, and SVP for compliance are among those who resigned. Bloomberg is reporting the chief business officer at the company also left. What's happening at Binance? Why are we seeing this exodus?
Yeah, so, multiple executives leaving at roughly the same time is never usually a good sign. Fortune is saying that these departures are in response to CZ and Binance's response to possible pending, U.S. Department of Justice action. It's been rumored for a while now that the DOJ has been investigating Binance, and, with the lawsuits from the SEC and the CFTC this year, it's very possible that the DOJ action, which will be, likely more serious just because of possible criminal penalties, is coming, much closer than either of those other investigations have been.
Now, CZ responded on Twitter last night. What did he have to say?
Well, obviously, he denied that it's a bad thing. Generally speaking, CZ has taken this tack where if there's any negative news about Binance, he downplays it as FUD. He basically took a very similar track in a very long tweet yesterday. I'm not going to read it out loud, but I think you have it on the screen there. Mm-hmm. He's saying that, this happens. Patrick Hillman likewise similarly put out a statement, also in a long form tweet, saying that it was simply time and not, denying that it had anything to do with possible DOJ actions or, the company's business as it is.
Seems like an odd coincidence. But let's talk about the future for Binance. It's under investigation from multiple regulators around the world. What could happen next for the exchange? It's still the largest exchange internationally by trading volume. What do you expect to see happen for them?
I guess the big question is whether or not the U.S. DOJ will file a suit and bring charges. One of the rumors that is circulating right now, or one of the theories rather, is that the DOJ is holding off because, oftentimes it won't reveal charges. It'll file them under seal until they're able to arrest the subject that is named. That could be one of the things that's happening right now. So we don't know for sure if the DOJ has actually brought charges or not. That's just one of the options, possibilities. As far as Binance itself, we've talked earlier this week about it being searched by Australian regulators. We've talked in the past about French regulators taking a look at the company's business. Regulators around the world are clearly taking a much closer look at Binance right now, and it doesn't seem like this is going to settle down anytime soon.
All right, Nick, thanks for joining us this morning. I'm sure you'll be back next week with an update on what's happening in the Binance saga. It seems we get news every day on this. That was CoinDesk Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor Nick Day. Don't forget to sign up for the State of Crypto newsletter on CoinDesk.com.
This last possibility, I say, because in June, Binance brought in 4 new hires from Milbank LLP, which is an international law firm focused on complex, high-profile cases. These are big dogs. If you look up Milbank, they are no joke. These 4 have extensive experience with one of the hires serving as co-director of the SEC's enforcement division. So the list of the following names I'm going to give you here: George Canellos, Canellos, who, in addition to working for the SEC for 5 years, also came from the Major Crimes Unit the Southern Attorney's Office of the Southern District of New York. There's also Adam Fee, a former prosecutor who spent 5 years in the Terrorism and International Narcotics Unit in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, and worked as a consultant for matters involving cybersecurity, data privacy, cryptocurrency regulations, and enforcement. And then there was Matthew LaRoche, who worked for 7 years in the criminal division at Milbank, also after working for the U.S. Attorney's Office, Southern District of New York. And lastly, there's Andrew LeBlanc, who's a bankruptcy specialist who, interestingly, has the title of Bankruptcy Lawyer of the Year for the last 5 years by Benchmark Litigations. If you're not familiar with Benchmark Litigations, because I wasn't, they list themselves as the definitive guide to the world's leading litigation firms and lawyers. So as you can see, this group is pretty well experienced, and if you notice, 3 or 4 of them probably know each other since they've worked in the same Southern District, New York. So for me, whenever I see these, I think of taking a big complex job. I try to, like for me, and my kind of thing, I try to assemble my kind of dream team in order, how am I going to take control of this situation? So 3 or 4 of these are partners at Milbank too, as well. So that's a big deal. And Andrew LeBlanc is a managing partner. So if I were to make a prediction, things are going to get either really bad or the SEC will fold and give Binance the tools it needs to be compliant. So that's the whole kind of way things are going to go. I think it's got to get really bad or really good. So with Milbank being such a high-profile legal firm, I think it's in the interest of them to get a deal done and then make the firm even more respected. So that's kind of the pressure, unfortunately, right now. So I don't know. What do you guys think? If things turn for the worse, the sad thing is that we could see a kind of a pullback on BNB, since Binance is roughly 50% of the world crypto market in terms of exchanges. But on the other hand, if we see some clear guidance and the SEC blinks, we could also see a really big rally too. So it's kind of could go either way. What do you think, Cody? It looks like you might have dropped out here. I will invite you to co-host again. Just give me 1 second. I'll get you connected. Take a minute. Give you there we go. Maybe, have you got the bug again? There we go. Sorry about that, Cody. I wasn't paying attention. I was kind of reading my screen here. Were you able to connect okay?
I am connected again. Yes, I had some trouble there, so I missed probably the good portion of what you were talking about. I heard the first part of it. You started talking about some of the news, FTX. I lost you after that.
Yeah, no, I was just covering Binance, how they had some high level people leaving, especially on the kind of the litigation side. But they
replaced the legal team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say they replaced the entire legal team, but they brought in some heavy hitters from a big firm. So it looks to me like they're not messing around, and so I wonder if the new legal team is basically saying, "Get out of our way. This is how we're going to do things," and they're like, "You know what? I'm going to take some time with family."
I'd imagine so. New strategy and all.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting to say. CWP, what do you think?
I find that whole thing just very interesting, especially as I just watched a YouTube video. I can't think of the guy's name. We all have our favorite, probably, in, people that we watch and respect, and others that we watch and don't respect. Can't think of his name. It's Crypto Tips. His wife is Heidi. They are no longer living in the U.S. And Heidi predicted, I think 2 weeks before FTX collapsed, that it was going to collapse, and she also predicted Alameda dying, and got a whole lot of really vicious vitriol for her predictions. And he just said that he found read one of the resignation tweets from Binance that included a whole lot of personal information that he said doesn't really fit with why you resign from a business. And he said that this was, and compared it to resignation tweets from people at SBX. And that there was fear in those tweets.
Mm-hmm.
And he said this is not FUD because he's a big promoter of Binance, but he fears that Binance is in the same kind of trouble that FTX is in. And I hope that's wrong. I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe it's FUD, but it's an interesting observation.
Yeah, if you look up these guys, these attorneys, like I said, they're no joke. These are serious players in the business, and I have a feeling they have not only the the resume to back up everything they're going to do, but I imagine that they have a fair amount of influence at the SEC. So hopefully, it's kind of funny because the SEC wants to look like they're doing something, but I also know that they're looking for a potential way out. That it's like when you go into arbitration. Both sides want something, but the arbitrator's idea of a success is everybody gets something, but nobody gets everything. So I'm hoping that's what it's going to look like, where Binance will have to do something in order to stay compliant, and the SEC looks good because hey, we cracked down on these guys. That's just my prediction.
There's another issue that he brought up that I've heard very, very few people speak about. And this is one that I feel very strongly about. Um, Cryptocurrency is a direct threat, and I mean a direct threat to Wall Street. And the big money on Wall Street is doing everything they can do to destroy crypto.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's self protective on their parts. Um, so, conspiracies, if two people are sitting talking about doing something illegal to kill crypto, that's a conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's one on one or whether it's one person talking to multiple people at different times or a group of people plotting the demise of crypto. Um, as long as it's legal, then it's a legal discussion.
Right.
But they have a vested, deeply vested interest. We're talking about billionaires here, multi-billionaires, in keeping crypto dead or
Right.
killing it.
Yeah.
And that certainly, I think, has a lot to do with the attack on Binance and the attack on all the centralized exchanges. And they haven't figured out yet how to attack the decentralized ones,
Yeah.
but they probably will as soon as they can. And what concerns me more than anything else about this is, as a U.S. resident, what it will mean for me owning crypto, and also for all of us, what it will mean uh, when they really start hitting hard, what it will mean on Evergrow and owning Evergrow coins or tokens.
I know Sam has talked in the past, like what would happen if Binance did, like theoretically, this is just speculation, right? But he had said in the past, if something did happen to Binance, they would be able to find a way to, pair with another token, pair with another, whatever it be. I don't know. But there, they wouldn't, we wouldn't just be high and dry. You know what I mean? Like there would be a way to really kind of salvage the whole thing. And so I don't really worry so much about that. You know, um, being with Bitcoin as a pairing, I just don't know if that would work exactly, but there's a lot of options. I mean, there really is. And usually when you have a vacuum, somebody else jumps in to fill it, right?
That's not my worry either about what will happen to EGC because of Binance. Um, I'm taking it farther. The whole SEC thing and what is going to happen to crypto in general, and specifically about whether it's an investment, whether it's a security or whatever the hell it is,
Right.
and how that will impact our ownership of EGC tokens.
Right. There's going to be a video that I'm going to include on the YouTube version of this. I can't really include it here because I guess I could play it, but I've got to find the right section, so I won't. But the speaker that I watched the video on here, he is incredibly bullish on Bitcoin in particular, but he is seeing players in the banking sector and all that stuff. They're gearing up for crypto because they know that there's just so many people that we're really married to the system, right? People generally, as a rule, don't stuff money under their mattress anymore. Back in the day, if you wanted to keep your money, you kind of like held it to yourself. You didn't have this kind of this whole system set up of banks, right? people are used to banks. People like banks. People trust banks for good or for bad. And I think they know it. They have kind of set up the system where there's a bank on every corner. And, there's that certain inherent people have that need to like, I don't have to worry about my crypto. I don't want to worry about a DeFi wallet. It's too confusing for me. I'd rather just this company handle it for me, which is why centralized exchanges do so well. I need you to just take care of it. And when I log in with my username and password, I know it's there. That's all they want. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that's just kind of the way it is. I don't think centralized exchanges are going anywhere. I think, we're going to see more adoption of both. But I think he said banks are really kind of gearing up, and I don't know if it's all of them, but they're getting ready for crypto. So it's going to be mainstream, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was timed with the returning of the bull market.
Related to this that you may already have to talk about in your news, and this is not a candidate that I'm necessarily in favor of, but I just read that Kennedy
Mm-hmm.
um, owns $100 to $250,000 in crypto, and he
Wow.
is probably one of the only prominent Democrats that I know of who is out about owning crypto,
Wow.
which is sadly about the only positive thing I can say about him. But
Yeah.
that's a political statement, so.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, and I've also been trying to figure out why are the Democrats apparently so anti-crypto, especially when there's at least speculation that a lot of them are heavily invested in crypto. What is it? Is it because the bankers own our politicians? And if so, why is the GOP as a general statement pro crypto? There's stuff here that I just don't understand.
Yeah. Trying to wrap your head around it, right? You would think that it would be the other way around. That's a good
Yes,
question. I
yeah.
mean, some people would say, like, in terms of Republican values, it's like, stay out of my business. Let me do my own thing, right? So maybe crypto fits perfectly within that kind of mindset, right? I don't know for sure, but
Yeah,
um,
I think that is a big part of it.
but there's, it's just interesting. Yeah, I don't really know. Um, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know why they would be against it. Maybe because we don't really have the legal framework and the regulation. So they see it as kind of this fringe outlier thing that it's kind of the Wild West, which it still kind of is. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, that makes sense. I see as a very gross generalization the Democratic Party as being the party of the little people, more more interested um, in general people like you and me and others rather than the big hitters, even though they're dependent upon the big hitters
Right.
uh, for their uh, uh, chests, war chests.
Right.
Um, and crypto fits with that image of the little guy because crypto gives advantages to not to the unbanked in other countries and even the unbanked here in the U.S., of which there are many, that they wouldn't otherwise have. And that's a big boon for the little guy.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. It's just one of those things. But like I said, I think crypto. Well, I mean, I've said this before. It's not going anywhere. And I think it's only going to get bigger. But I don't really think we're gonna see these little steps here and there, these little kind of like, you might see a news thing on this or whatever. But then all of a sudden, there's going to be like, maybe a Wells Fargo. Maybe they're going to start up a crypto division or something like that. And then you'll see this kind of race to get it done because everybody wants a piece of it. So once you start seeing that, then it's going to be probably a very, very quick adoption. And there's going to be a lot of growing pains, but we'll see. We'll see how it all rolls. Thanks for saying that. I appreciate it. Oh yes, I was going to talk about after the news there, some scam info. So yeah, like I said, I try to cover some recent kind of scam stuff, and unfortunately, I hate to say it, but one of our EGC fam appears to be the victim of a scam on Discord. I don't really have all the details, but from what I can gather, someone was talking about having not received their reflections in their wallet for a while. They said that, hey, I know I own so much, I know I should be getting reflections, but I'm not. And I'm guessing at that point, someone named Paul Maud reached out to them in a DM and told them that the synchronization and validation progress is pending and which is causing an error, and told them to follow instructions, at which point they were cleaned out. Their wallet was completely emptied. Please be careful, guys. Everything you say in Discord, Twitter, Facebook, it's all monitored by scammers. People are watching for this stuff, and they will be looking for an opportunity to scam you. That's why, in Twitter, I don't say Trust Wallet. I say TW or something like that, or MM for MetaMask. Those are flags, and they're watching for it, right? Mods will never DM you first. And even if someone says that they're a mod and asks you to reach out to them, just be suspicious. Never follow links or give up your seed phrase. If you're not sure about the communication from someone, just please ask about it publicly to somebody you trust. Within there's all these kind of mods and helpers within Discord and Telegram, and also be patient, because you might not get an answer right away, right? We've got lives, and I've put something in a comment and waited an hour, and then I've got an answer. So just be patient. The scammers are going to try and prey on your impatience and your kind of fear. You know what I mean? So one thing I did make a suggestion is that use the dashboard feature on Evergrow EGC website. You can connect your wallet and see what rewards you've been accumulated and how much are pending. Now I know since Wallet Connect has been having some issues, I've not been able to do that. I tried this morning and it wouldn't work. So if any of you guys know a tool to safely check that outside of EGC, please jump in, Cody, anytime.
Yeah, you just got it. Actually, I was just gonna just touch on the Wallet Connect V2 thing. We'll have it resolved here shortly.
Gotcha.
So appreciate y'all being patient with it. And back to your point really quick, if I may, about that fellow in Discord that had that happen to him. I hate to hear that. It's such a shame. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk about it, educate everyone on some of the do's and don'ts, some of the things to be aware of. I'd love to just piggyback on that because it's so important. My advice, don't ever talk about your holdings. Don't ever talk about how much you have. Don't ever talk about how much you had or you're planning to have or any of that stuff, because all of those little bits of data are things that people are watching for and listen for. Just like that gentleman in Discord, it's okay to ask a question. Of course, you just have to be hyper vigilant on who you're replying to when someone reaches out. Staff will never reach out. Everyone knows that, but not everyone knows that, obviously. So if you see somebody in Discord, I think the best thing I could say, whether it's on Telegram, Discord, or Twitter, if you see someone else, let's say, voice a concern or ask a question, someone from the community, watch out for them. They may not know the do's and don'ts of this world. They may not know those things. Keep an eye out for those people. Be their guardian in a sense. Watch out for them, because many of us have been that person. We're new to the business. We're new to crypto. It's like we don't know that people are watching what we say all the time. We don't know what not necessarily to do, right?
Yeah.
So I would just like to encourage everyone to just watch out for those around each other.
And I feel bad because I was one that answered one of their questions where they said they weren't getting the reflections, and I said, go to the EGC site, and then there was no response after that. So I figured, okay, well, maybe they've resolved that issue. I feel bad. Maybe I should have followed up and said, hey, did you get the answer? But on the other hand, it seemed like maybe at that point somebody reached out to them, and it wasn't somebody nice.
Yeah. There's no way to know, and it's okay. Obviously you were doing what any one of us would do, just trying to help answer questions, but it's a great point to talk about, watch out for each other, folks. There's a lot of people out there that not just folks that are new to it, but also veterans out there. It happens. We're all human. People are very smart. People are very savvy. Social engineering is a skill in itself.
It is.
And a lot of people obviously really take advantage of that kind of thing. So just watch out for each other.
Thank you for saying that.
Also, I don't think we really know how many people get hit because, speaking personally, it's embarrassing to talk about how stupid you were. And my Paul, who also had a bald head on there, was extremely helpful, patient, understanding, commiserated with me, and convinced me that he had my best interest in heart to the point that I was stupid enough to give him my phrase. Uh, and I say that stupid enough, but he was a good con artist. Um,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of them out there. So
Yeah.
I agree with you, Coda. We need to be watching out for each other.
Yeah. It's just like, anything else in life. I mean, watch out for your fellow man. We've all heard that adage many times in our life. Watch out. It's happened to me. I'm no stranger to this. This has absolutely happened to me
Yeah.
before. I've told that story. My early journey of crypto, I have been socially engineered and lost some funds. Yeah. So I mean, just watch out for
Yeah.
each other. You see something weird like that, a new person asking questions, take a minute to, publicly let them know to be very
Yeah.
careful.
So thank you for saying that, guys. Appreciate it. As far as reflections go, like keep in mind, like the minimum payout for reflections, I believe, is $1. But I've seen like you can accumulate many times that before the payout's initiated. I've seen like mine
Yep.
was at $7 at one time, and you could manually claim it, but I just leave it alone, right? And I've heard
Yeah.
somebody say they got it was like $12 before they got paid out.
Oh, it's been way more than that for me
Interesting.
before. So yeah, I mean, it happens, it's difficult to tell people, hey, well, there's not a finite answer to this. And people say, well, why not? There should be.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I get that from one perspective, but the other perspective is there's volume coming in and going out, coming in and going out. So, the finite aspect of when does the payout happen is constantly in
Right.
flux, right? So yeah, it could be after $1. It could be after 50. It just depends. So the volume coming in, the volume going out to when that payout, and then you're put into a queue. Basically, your wallet is put into the queue to where it gets paid out. So I've had it. Same thing. Like I've looked at it and been like, oh, there's like $36 there. That's cool. And it didn't pay out yet. And then eventually it showed up in my wallet and it was like $42. And
Yeah.
there we go.
Exactly.
So if I needed it right away, I would
Um,
just go to the
with
cash app.
volume, it's not just the volume in dollars, but the volume in transactions, right? Each payout requires a transaction to happen, and so yeah, it comes down to how many transactions are happening, and then how much dollar volume is moving through it.
That's a good point. Thank you.
I just won 5 Lucro, by the way. Everybody, that was Rocket. I just won 5
Are you
Lucro.
sure that was
I didn't want to
Rocket
give
or
you
is that an imposter?
I didn't
I'm
want to give you
gonna.
satisfaction.
It could be AI. That's true. Dang it.
All right. So so if you don't see your rewards right away, just be patient. You got to trust the system. It works. Nothing's broken. I know I was there when I first started. I was like, how long do I have to wait? See your reflections and all that stuff, right? This was, of course, in early or late 2021 when we had a lot of volume and so reflections were happening good. When I first started, I think one day I got like $10 in reflections. It was like doing backflips. I was like, wow, what is going on here? And of course, when it's all dependent on volume. So be patient. But if you have questions, it's okay to reach out, but just be careful, guys. Just be careful. There's always somebody out there waiting to take advantage. And like CWP was saying, they can be very nice and very helpful and kind of be that con man, just waiting to take advantage. Never share your seed phrase and don't follow links or anything like that. And if you have any questions, reach out to any of us. Please. Just feel really bad for when that happens because, it affects us all, right? It's that trust, right? Okay, let us get into LunaSky NFT Marketplace. So, Cody, I was just going to ask you, how is the status of the bug bash going? You and Rocket and QA testing, all that stuff.
Yeah. So excited to talk about it this week. The bug bash is essentially complete. We still have folks in the group. We're going to maintain the group because they can continue testing. But basically, we've got the data from it that we need. The final stages of work for the dev are happening with the UI and UX. This week's meetings we had were essentially about 2 things. Closing down the beta. So we are preparing to close down the beta, everyone. Big smiles for that. Very excited. Take that as you will, so prepping for closing down the beta is important because there are certain things that we need to get in order to do that. One of those things would be, of course, educating you all about what that means. What do you need to do, if anything? What you don't need to do, what you don't need to worry about, those kind of things. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, prepping to close down the beta, finalizing some of the last UI and backend UX stuff, and prepping for migration. And I think that is a great segue for maybe Mr. Rocket Surgeon to talk to you all about this migration process and what it means shutting down the beta.
Hello. Yes. Really exciting. So we're sort of finalizing that process of really squaring everything away for the migration for you guys. There's my 1.5-year-old. Hi. So essentially the way it's going to work is your collections on LunaSky right now, as it stands, they all exist within the LunaSky contract. They're all within the LunaSky contract. So technically, it's not your collection right now. It belongs to LunaSky. You have access to change it and modify it, but it's not really yours. As we transition into the full release, you are going to be taking ownership of your collections.
That's pretty, that's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, this all has to do with the type of platform it is. So this is, like we've said before, we're going from an 1155 to an ERC 721 platform.
So is anything, just because, we were talking about scam, is there anything the current user needs to do other than the things that you guys are doing? Is there any work that the user has to do during the migration process?
Yeah, so there will be things that the creators will need to do. The actual holders of the NFTs, so the folks that just bought them, don't need to do anything. You just have to wait on your creator to square that away. And then for the creators, especially if you have a lot of collections, you don't have to do this all at once. There's no deadline for this. So don't freak out. Don't feel like you have to panic and get everything migrated. Feel free to take your time on it. There's no time pressure on it. But yeah, the creators will be able to migrate their collections one collection at a time, and you will essentially be able to just airdrop the new tokens in your own, within your own collection contract that you own to the holders automatically. So everything will be done within the LunaSky migration app. You don't need to do anything otherwise. Yeah, it's going to be a neat process.
Yeah, very straightforward. You just connect your wallet. You'll get you'll see everything associated to it, and then you can migrate collections over at your will, or not migrate collections over if you don't want. Very straightforward.
Is there I imagine there would be a gas fee involved in the migration, right?
Yeah, so there will be gas in the migration, and so obviously, if you have a lot of collections and a lot of NFTs, that's where you may want to prioritize them and just do them as it makes sense to do them. Thankfully, for the most part, we're all on BNB, so the gas is pretty cheap. It should be negligible for the most part, but yeah.
Great, good news. Bard, I see you wanted to jump in there. Go ahead.
Yeah, he answered the question right at the end there. I was wondering about gas prices.
Perfect. Any other questions there, Bard?
No, that's it.
All right, awesome. Cool. Well, that's really good news. It's so just to recap, Bug Bash is done. It's in the hands of the devs, and they're kind of like, and more or less, I don't know, is it a fair question? Were there a lot of bugs?
That's a good question. It's hard. It's interesting because it's like, well, it should just be a yes or no question, right?
It's all relative.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's hard to say yes. It's hard to say no to that. It's all relative because bugs are not necessarily bugs sometimes.
Right.
Like, sometimes they are, but sometimes they're features, right? It's like, oh, well, this isn't a bug. We just realized after we started doing this specific thing, we should modify how it actually works. So not necessarily a bug, but like a modification of a process, right? Or processes. But some bugs too. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it, definitely.
Cool. Thank you. That's great news. So, obviously that end is done, and now it's in the hands of the devs. And I imagine we'll be hearing pretty soon as far as the migration process goes. Once it's all ready, you guys should be super excited.
Very excited.
Big time. We're almost there, everybody. We'll make an announcement, of course, when the beta is going to be shut down, which is going to come very, very soon. So just keep an eye out for that.
I saw Sam put out a tweet yesterday or the day before, and he was talking about the dark. What was it? How did he word it now? Something about dark mode coming to life or something like that. Coming to life, or there's a screenshot there.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Well, that was my tweet.
Was it yours?
What Binance said?
Pardon me?
Yeah, it was on Threads, so on the Instagram
Oh,
app.
okay.
Binance was making a point that there's no light mode, and that dark mode is life. And I wholeheartedly agree.
Interesting. All right. Anything else you guys want to add before we go into Atlas Wallet?
Lost you guys for a second there.
Sure. I was just saying, is there anything you wanted to add before we maybe talk about Atlas Wallet? Any little tidbits of anything? You don't have to, of course. But
I'll be anyone who is a creator. If you're not already in the creator core, DM me so that we can get you in there. I'll be going over just a few little tips to kind of prepare for the migration. It's just too detailed and too specific to go over here, but let me know.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Maybe we can do a tweet a little later. Cool. So let's get into Atlas Wallet. So I saw the tweet this morning from, I've not really talked to her much, but Lily Vivi, and she was remarking on a video about of Atlas Wallet that was uploaded. The video kind of shows all the watch wallets being added to Atlas, and she tweeted, "This is the best thing that will happen in the crypto space at Atlas Wallet. You can watch up to 50 wallets at a time, seeing their changing balance live on the main wallet list, or the details of each token on the wallet page." And then Paul followed up with that saying, "Wait until you see what our Chrome extension can do." I was like, okay, what are we talking about? Anytime I've seen a wallet extension, it's been pretty basic stuff. It only serves as a connect to your DeFi wallet. That's pretty much it. So very basic. So I'm curious to know what he and the team have planned as far as the Chrome extension. Super excited. I don't use the Chrome extension. How about you, Cody? Or Rocket, do you guys use that much?
Only for testing LunaSky. But yeah, I don't use a Chrome extension to connect my wallet to anything, but a lot of people do. Yeah, it's very popular.
I've used it on MetaMask once, and it was really tough to use. It didn't work well. That was quite a while ago. Cool.
Yeah, I've never really had a big personal need for it. Some people are more desktop, or they're using their desktop more frequently, I guess I would say, than mobile. So some people really like the Chrome extension with different things.
Is there anything that the Chrome extension gives you? And I'm not just talking about Atlas Wallet in general, but using that for connecting, your DeFi wallet. Is there anything that with that Chrome extension working on a desktop can do that works better than your iOS device or your Chrome or your Android device?
I don't know. I wouldn't be the most knowledgeable about that. So yeah, definitely would be the best person to answer it. Anyone that uses the Chrome extension probably has some insight.
Yeah. I've like I said, I used it on MetaMask one time, and I think it was the very beginning of Evergrow actually. And because it wasn't working for me, and so I just kind of abandoned it and just left it at that. Cool. Well, let's move on to Evergrow. So this was interesting. It's something I hadn't really paid much attention to, but so the Evergrow official had tweeted that they now have a blue check mark on BSC Scan. The blue check mark, if you guys aren't aware, on BSC Scan represents a token or a project of public interest. The token page with the blue check mark is also displayed first and more prominently during a search on BSC Scan, prioritizing a genuine token while also showing other tokens with similar names. So I think that is a very good thing that adds credibility to Evergrow and Lucro. I did see if Lucro was added onto that or if it was just Evergrow. Does anybody know?
I think it's just Evergrow. I'd have to double check.
Gotcha.
It might be both. I thought it was both.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'll have to double check, yeah. So I made a quick video on YouTube this week on Wednesday because Sam gave us a bit of an update on the status of utilities. And he had, I think it was it Denny had said something? Basically, nothing critical or anything like that, but other people have posted other stuff too. But Sam had said the criticisms are all valid, and we know you've been here before, EGC fan, but this time I am prepared to stake everything on this and say without equivocation, this is the quarter. Q3 equals LunaSky, then EGC staking, then Lucro Games, then Atlas Wallet. So we're in the quarter right now, the third quarter. So this is it. This is kind of where it's all going to happen. And I think, Cody, you've said with a high degree of confidence that you think LunaSky NFT is coming up first. And then, and iSaver just said both have the check marks. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Xavier. Yeah, I did say that, and I still believe that to be a fact. It'll be LunaSky, Evergrow staking, and then it's a toss-up between Atlas Wallet and
Lucro Games
and Lucro Gaming. Yeah, thank you. I like right as I started saying that out loud, I kind of realized like it'll probably be Atlas Wallet before Lucro Gaming, but I don't know that for sure. So I think it'll be a little bit of a toss-up. I think I'm going to lean more towards the wallet, but it's still a little bit of a toss-up. But yeah, NFT staking and so on.
Good stuff. And it's two Lucro Games. Is that right?
Yeah, we'll start out with 2 games.
Awesome. That's nice to know that there potentially might be more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and again, since we're on the topic real quick, very, very simple games, everybody. Nothing that really requires much development at all. Existing games that will all be familiar with. Very, very, very simple. And just an opportunity to have a little fun, use a little Lucro, etc.
Interesting. Curious to know how that's going to integrate because, typically, with, some of the games that I played in the past, the older games, simple games, how would you, I don't know. I don't want to speculate and I don't want an answer either because I don't want anybody getting ideas.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of different words that I could use right now to maybe, but no, it would all just give it away. So, right. But again, I mean, they're very simple. I guarantee you everyone has played at least one, if not both of these types of games before. It's that kind of thing. Like you've all played it at some point in your life or played both of them in some way or some shape or form. So, but yeah, I was just thinking like, what could I say? You basically blah, blah with Lucro or blah, blah. No, I don't think I could.
Just leave it.
I could, but I don't think I'm going to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's funny because, people are very much into copying other people's stuff and the next thing you know, somebody's trying the same thing that we're doing. So let's leave it at that.
Yeah. And look, here's the deal. Like the goal with them is, again, not to reinvent the wheel, not to throw on months and months of development for some kind of, really cool game. I get a lot of messages about like, what's the game? Is it going to be like this or that? I'm like, no, it's not going to be like any of that. It's just a very, very simple game that you don't have to use much brain power for at all, and is, will just be kind of fun. That's it. That's the goal. Later on down the road, I would love, and I'm sure many of us out there would love to incorporate Lucro into more advanced gaming type,
I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it.
I was just about to say your name, my friend. I was about to say, and I think that we have the right person already working on it. So there he is, Mr. Bard.
I wanted to ask a question, if I may, of Cody and Rocket. And this is just a thought off the top of my head from you talking about the release order. Would there be an advantage to having the wallet out first for using Lucro to play the games?
Would there be an advantage to having the wallet out first to using Lucro to play the games? No, I don't think so. I mean, not that I can think of it off the top of my head. I'm sure we could probably find some type of advantages though, but right off the top of my head, no, I don't think so. What do you think, Rocket?
I can't think of any reason really.
Yeah. I want to say this too, just kind of circling back. I'm sorry to jump around here, but we mentioned staking also. Just wanted to quickly touch on that. I've got a jet in just a second, is why. But as we said before, the staking contract has been completed for quite some time now. The devs have been testing it. The designs are completed. We have a weekly staking meeting right now, and Rocket and I. So it's essentially at that point now where everything is done. They're doing the final testing. We've got to see like stake and unstake, compound, withdrawal, stuff like that. So it's pretty straightforward. So that is pretty much almost finished. So that's why, again, I say it's going to be NFT and then staking and then everything else.
What do you have you seen the what the web page is going to look like at all?
Say that one more time.
Have you seen the web page? What it's going to look like on the EGC site?
Oh, great question. No, I have not, but we can talk about it. Essentially, it's just going to be integrated into the Evergrow website. So just like the dashboard is, right? You go to the dashboard or the swap right there, which the swap is on the home page and its own page if you haven't been to the site in a while. But no, we haven't seen the page yet, but it's going to be just like that. It'll essentially look just like the swap or the dashboard page, basically. You could think maybe Brew Labs. It'll look very similar to that. Yeah, so very simple.
I think it's funny. I still get a lot of questions about staking, and they're not really familiar with it, and they don't understand how it works. And I think it's still a pretty new concept for some people. But essentially, how it works that I've worked at is basically there's a certain number of tokens that have been allocated, and I believe it's 12 trillion. Evergrow have been allocated for the staking contract. So what will happen is you essentially stake your tokens. They're held up and they're on the website. And then as those tokens are staked, you earn an APY and interest on those things. That APY being annual percentage yield. And let's just say we don't know what that APY is going to look like until we know how many people are staking. And that is the number that will change. At first, I remember when Brew Labs first started Lucro, I think you said, Cody, you were in the hundreds of percent APY because you were one of the first to stake.
Not me.
Oh, was it you?
That must have been Paul.
Maybe it was Paul.
No. I didn't get in until like way later. Not way later, but like a day later in comparison is way later because you're right. It went from like 100% or above down to, like 9 point something. I think it was at its lowest. I think I got in right around, I really don't remember now. I know right now it's teetering on what, 10?
Right around 10-ish, yeah.
I didn't get in that high. It wasn't 9%, but it was like 24 hours after it started.
So let's just say for hypothetical, let's say it's 10% APY. So if you stake, let's say 100 billion Evergrow, then at the end of the term of the staking, you could earn 10 billion Evergrow. So the more you stake, the more you get.
Yep.
So, and again, that number will change. So let's say if potentially the price of Evergrow goes up, and some people withdraw their money from the staking pool to trade potentially, your percentage of the yield will go up. And conversely, if more people stake, your portion of the yield, your yield will go down too. But it'll be pretty transparent. It has to be, so people know what they're getting themselves into. Anybody?
I wish I could have 100 billion to stake.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Why did you pick that number?
I'm just thinking high roller Denny. He's probably got 100 billion, right? I don't know. I mean, 100 billion, like a lot of people say, and this is a subject, that I always find very interesting. A lot of people say, how much Evergrow should I own, right? And because a lot of people, I mean, what are your goals? That's the first thing. What are your goals? If it's passive income, then, obviously the more you have, the more passive income you're going to make. Passive income is totally dependent on volume, right? At least now it is, right? In the future, that might change. So if you had 1 trillion Evergrow, then yeah, obviously you're going to get some pretty good rewards, even on low volume. But if you have, 10 billion, let's just say, your passive rewards are not going to be the same. And, of course, if the volume changes and goes up to, let's say, 100 million volume a day, then yeah, you're going to obviously get more rewards. That is a question I think people need to figure out for themselves. I can't say, have 50 billion Evergrow. That's the magic number because, I have different goals than some of you have, right? I'm going to bring up Ice. Ice Savior. I'm going to bring him up in a second. Hopefully he can get connected. Ice Savior, how you doing today?
Looks like he's still getting connected. While he's getting connected, I'll say real quick. I've got to run early today, everyone, but I wanted to pop in. Love seeing everybody. Steve, thank you so much for hosting always. Look forward to listening back later when I can. But you all have a great night. I'm still here, going to hang out for a bit. I just wanted to say that if I disappear.
Thank you, Cody. I appreciate you being here. I know you're so busy, so thanks for being here and have a great rest of your weekend.
You too, Steve, and everyone else. Have a great weekend, y'all.
All right, Ice Savior, can you hear me at all?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah, I got a question for you. So, are you going to stake Evergrow when it opens up?
Yeah, if the returns as APY would be good, with the little that I have, I will stake. I will stake. Why not? I'm not in a rush for anything. I'm waiting for the delivery. As I said, before I even talk of do anything with my holding, it will be after we pass our all-time high. So I'm
Right.
expecting that this when I can.
Have you
Um,
just out of curiosity, have you staked any token in the past? Do you have an experience with staking?
Yes, I've taken some tokens before in Binance, but what I discovered, at that time now we're in the bull run, so the returns might not really be worth with the holdings that maybe I might have, might not was not really worth it. So, and you know that you can whenever there is much mistake tokens on the pool, the price seems to go high, and when it goes high like that, there's how you want to maybe exit the duration, and already you have already gotten, I don't know how it will be, whether it will be on monthly basis, and going out there you have to pay some this thing since you have not completed your tenure. So it's always better to stake some and also remain some because anything can happen.
Yeah, don't some people would say don't stake everything, but maybe like stake 50% or something like that. Keep in mind too, like there's some staking pools out there that offer some incredibly big rewards. Like even on Brew Labs, if you go there and you say and you search a token, and you're like, oh my god, this one's giving like 150% rewards, right? That isn't. Keep in mind that sounds really really good, but check how much liquidity is in that thing because you may not. If you stake that, you may not get it out. So you kind of buyer beware. Just obviously, if you look at Lucre staking, you can see how much has been staked, how much liquidity is there, all that stuff. So just be careful.
Yeah, what you are saying is very, very true.
Even 40,
That's the
50%,
thing.
40, 50% returns. You just do your homework. Don't just like, oh my God, I'm going to get like, double my money on this one, So just be careful. You may lose it all too.
Yeah.
Did you have a question?
Okay. Yes, I had a question that I wanted to ask. Based on the progress and what we have in the ecosystem, I think is very, very impressive. So, I wanted to ask this so that also people can also hear their own view. If we look at in this arena of this bear market that we have been, we have also seen what has really driven the market, which is strongly greed. So I'm looking at, is there anything special package, whether on marketing, that the ecosystem has also kept in, because we need to bring grid. If you observe, no matter we have the everything, the utilities are good, but we need to also say the grid factor where people will jump into maybe in the pre-launch to this. Do we have any package like that on
You
ground?
talk about marketing?
Yeah, the general marketing is still there, but I'm trying to talk about maybe some things that can attract greed. Marketing first is for like the level of awareness that has already been created to some extent for the product that we're going to launch. But I'm trying to talk about something. We don't have a blockchain now that would have said, in this era now, everything is mean tokens. What those mean tokens, those things might not really have utilities. But what it does to some of those blockchain, it drives more context and awareness where people jumps in. So I'm trying to say, with these utilities that we have, do we have anything that will entice? It might not really be a big thing because I've read something about the NFT, Evergrow, Man NFT, or about winning Tesla. But even though the thing is not really much, but do we have any plan that will entice more users to come in at least to the ecosystem?
Okay, that's a lot to unwrap. So other than marketing,
Yeah, it sounds like you're asking about marketing, and so yes, there is plan for marketing.
because you're asking how do we get people into Evergrow, right? Or in the utilities. You could approach it from multiple fronts. One is marketing, absolutely. But the other is like, what are you delivering, right? Because people will be attracted, like for instance, the yields on we were talking about staking. If you're offering a 25% yield on Evergrow, then people are going to be talking about that. And they're going to be tweeting about it. They're going to be doing videos, and that again, that's all part of marketing, right? Um, it sounds to me like you're talking about marketing, but am I wrong?
Yeah, not really wrong, but what I'm trying to say makes sense. Let me just use an example. There is something that is going on now with a particular company, which a token that they are doing, and I looked at that as something that we can also incorporate in our own. It's not that they are not doing marketing or not, but what they do is that they bring out something like puzzles where they try to model some big influencers behind the scene. It might be possible that these people are behind. It might also be possible that they are not behind, but they create that greed index where people believes. Do you understand me now? It's just a kind of marketing, but there's how it is presented where people feel there is a need. So this thing started like if it was a meme, but they now discover that oh, they are utilities, but there's a greed factor that is created there where it drives people down there, not just getting. We know we have all those things that we can get influencers to, but I'm trying to say, what are the incentives? Like even rate to earn, things like that, little things like that can drives.
So I've heard Sam and Paul talk about a marketing plan, right? That's I don't have access to this, so but it was multifaceted. It wasn't like one dimensional kind of like okay we're going to do ads on crypto websites and stuff like that like KuCoin and all that stuff. There was influencer marketing that was going to be part of it, but that looks like I don't know. There's obviously with Atlas Wallet, there's going to be their own set of marketing that was planned that I've been told of, which I think was an amazing marketing plan. Personally, I think it's going to snowball and it's going to do pretty great things. I remember when I heard it, I was like, wow, this is going to take off. But as far as the rest of it, I think they're kind of keeping it to their chest right now, just because if you tell people what you're going to do in terms of marketing, there's the option that people may copy that and say, "Oh, that sounds like a really good idea. I'm gonna run with this." So I think that's a wise move to do on their part. But I know influencer marketing is part of it. Obviously, when you have price action, like Lucro, for an example, I was going to talk about this. So Lucro is up like 25% in the last 30 days, right? It was up a little higher. It's done a little bit of a pullback, but it's still up. You start to see more price action. I'm not talking about 25%. I'm talking 50%, 75%. You start to deal with this kind of FOMO mentality, right? Where people start to FOMO in, and then it creates its own marketing, right? And that's the kind of marketing you want, where people are, hey, I just bought some Lucro and it's up, it's 50% in the last, 14 days or 7 days or whatever it may be. That is the organic kind of stuff that is, you get people speaking on behalf of the project and you're not paying them anything to do it. That is totally, part of it. So it's kind of, does that help me answer your question?
Yeah, it's very nice. Okay, let's just drive a bit. There's something that happened. Rockets. Was it? Were you actually banned from all Elon Musk tweets? Because I saw a tweet like that from your end.
Oh no. That's I was making fun of Grant Cardone. He was crying on Twitter about Elon Musk banning him. That was just it was a meme.
Okay. I was just looking at based on the current thing that has happened and Elon Musk proceeding to file a suit against trade. So I was just wondering. I dropped in a group chat. Will we ever, for once, if we develop actually brought out creator, will we ever be at this point?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question properly.
Okay, I said with the current some things that I've also read online that Elon Musk has filed a suit against
Oh yeah,
trades.
I've heard that.
Do you
Yeah.
understand? So I asked the question: if we actually brought creator, will it be at that is early or we had that creator? Will we have been in this point with what they are facing now? And currently now, based on the funding that we have, could we be able to match this kind of a thing?
I mean, it's all hypothetical, so who knows? But I wouldn't have wanted to be in that mess. Be between two billionaires slinging mud at each other. No, thank you.
I appreciate the question, Saver. So yeah, as far as marketing goes, I mean, I think we're just gonna have to wait and see. There is a pretty substantial marketing budget, so they're gonna use it wisely, and I think it's kind of one of those marketing plans that has legs, as they say. It's not just going to be put out an ad for 30 days and then see what happens. There's going to be I mean, right now there's marketing going on that you probably don't see as marketing, but it is marketing. And so just kind of hang tight. Once you see it afterwards, you're going to be like, oh, now it makes sense. So just kind of hang tight on that one. But one thing I was going to talk about again on Lucro. So last week we saw a really nice pump for Lucro and then a modest pullback. So, but you will still see an uptrend with Lucro being up about 45% in the last 14 days and 25% in the last 30. So I've made this pretty clear. I'm pretty bullish on Lucro. So that's real no surprise. And frankly, I still see these prices as dirt cheap. And it's not financial advice, of course, but and then Evergrow is up about 5% over the last 14 days and pretty flat over the last 30. But I think we will continue to see an uptrend for both Lucro and Evergrow. But again, that's just my opinion, not financial advice. But for comparison, BNB is actually down 11% for the month. So we're seeing Evergrow and Lucro break away again, which is a very, very bullish sign. So that's very good. Bitcoin, interestingly, is up about 13% over the last 30 days, and Ethereum is actually flat right now. So I think that's kind of interesting that, anytime we see Lucro and Evergrow kind of pull away from BNB, I find that's a really interesting move because we generally see kind of they usually flow together, right? Up and down together. So that was interesting. Give me 1 second. I am just going to go not really familiar, David. I haven't met you before, so I'm just going to do a little bit of a recon here. If you guys can tell me if you know David before I bring him up. I've been bitten once before. Choose not to get bitten again. 1 second here. Of course, I didn't. 1 second here. We'll bring it to open discussion here since I pretty much covered everything that I was going to cover. CWP, was there anything you wanted to bring up at all? Get there, CWP. Can over here. All right. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to bring up rainbows. And I'm going to bring up David. 1 second, please. David, can you hear me at all? David, you there? Might just need a minute to connect.
Hi there. Sorry, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Good. Did you have a question for Rocket? I see Cody had to drop out, but did you have a question for about anything like that?
Yeah. I hear you saying you don't know me. I'm not the most active on Twitter, but I've been holding Evergrow since end of 2021.
Awesome.
And obviously,
what did you get in? Out of curiosity,
attention.
like the late end, like September, or were you there November? Or do you remember?
No, I was in a little late, so I'm still looking to make profit. But obviously been paying a lot more attention lately.
Appreciate you being here.
My question was just around utilities release. Obviously, the dates aren't hard dates. If there was some kind of, macro news that caused a downturn in the crypto market, like coinciding with planned release dates, would those dates then be postponed? And if they were, would that be communicated to the community?
I've heard.
Hey, good question.
Yeah, thank you, Rocket.
No. The answer is no.
So,
okay.
What you're basically saying is you don't care what the market's going to do. We're going to just keep doing what we're doing, right?
Don't care. We're going full speed.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. I hope that answers.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question. Do you have another one?
Yeah. No, that was the main thing. Yeah, I'm mainly listening to other people's questions, but that was one thing that's been on my mind. So appreciate the clear answer, and yeah, looking forward to it.
What are you, out of curiosity, what are you most interested in terms of utilities? Which one has you the most kind of bullish?
For me, Atlas Wallet.
Yeah.
I haven't really used NFTs much, so the marketplace is definitely something I'll look at. But to me, the wallet's the one that could really, make things go crazy.
Did you, out of curiosity, pick up an Evergrow NFT way back when?
I did, yeah. I think I got about 3.
Gotcha. So you still would technically be in the contest, right? So when the LunaSky NFT V2 launches, that contest will continue. and hopefully sell out the remainder of the Evergrow NFTs, and then the winner will be announced. Just so you know, I don't know if you've been around to monitor that, but contests will still go on. They're just going to push marketing on it.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on things, as I say, more closely lately. But yeah, I think that's about the only time I've ever bought NFTs. So yeah, but I'm looking forward to all these releases.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, so if you say Atlas Wallet's your number one, not really into NFTs so much, would you say that would you be interested in staking Evergrow?
Yeah, I would. I mean, my intent is for it to be a long-term hold anyway, so it wouldn't make sense not to stake it, to my mind. Like my intent is to get to a certain number and, kind of
Gotcha.
leave it. So yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer for me. I'm figuring out what percent. I would also want to keep maybe 10 to 20% unstaked for, emergencies and that kind of thing. But yeah, the majority I would say would be staked. I haven't actually read too much into the exact staking rewards, the percentages. I don't know if those are out yet.
Yeah, it's fixed based on, so we know it's 12 trillion have been allocated for staking. That's one of the number I'm aware of. So it really, the rewards are divided evenly they're divided amongst the people who stake. So let's say you're one of the whales, right? You're going to get the majority of the rewards. So because even if it's 10%, you will still get like that 10% of your rewards, right? So it all depends on how many people stake and how long they stay staked, right? Because if it's a year contract, one thing the team has said is that there will be no penalty if you want to stake today and then unstake tomorrow. There's no penalty for that. Obviously, you'll have gas fees, and I don't know about the tax though. Rocket, do you know, will the staking incur the tax of 5%? Because it is technically you're moving your tokens, right?
Yeah, so whatever the tax is, it's going to be applied.
Gotcha. Makes sense. I hope that helps, David.
Just like Lucro.
Just like Lucro, exactly. Yeah.
So would that be 5% to stake and 5% to unstake?
Correct. So in a sense, you got to make it worth your while, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I know Sam has said that he wants to make it worthwhile, right? And it wouldn't surprise me because those 12 trillion in tokens. I don't know if you remember how that came about.
I do, yeah, with the
exactly.
sale.
So, and this happened a couple times, so it wouldn't surprise me if there were other opportunities to earn more tokens for the holders and stakers. So,
yeah. So given that people can stake and unstake any day, would it be sort of calculated the same as reflections, sort of constantly ongoing?
Yeah, Frank NFTs actually asked that question. I was going to get to it, and that's a good question for Rocket if he knows. But for NFTs, let me just see here what he had. I want to get to his question. If you unstake, one second, I got to scroll back up again. It looks like a question disappeared. Oh yeah, if you stake, do you still get your passive income? That's a fantastic question. Rocket, do you know the answer to that?
Can you repeat that?
When you stake your tokens, are they still subject to passive income through reflections?
Yes.
I love it. You just may not necessarily see them, I guess, in a sensible way, because I guess you would, because they still would be accumulating, right? That's interesting. So it's a good thing. Yeah, I hope that helps a little bit. Do you have any other questions before I run to Brain Bros?
No, that was everything for me. Thank you
for being here, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for being OG. Brain Bros, how you doing?
I'm good. I had to unmute the mic, sorry. When the phone's sitting so long, the screen locks and you gotta unlock it and you're like,
Exactly.
Good evening, everybody. I'm about to hop on the bicycle, literally, enjoy this evening cruise. But my main question is, is that offer still going on for that burger screenshot picture thingy in Naples, Florida?
As far as I know, yes, and because I haven't seen anybody do a public picture of them eating an Evergrow burger.
Well, I would have been there sooner, but I totaled my car last month.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, my health is here. Nobody got hurt. It's just physical things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mainly wanted to know about that because I'm looking forward to doing that.
Yeah, there's 2 locations. One's in Naples.
I feel like I'm one of the closest ones.
Yeah, one's in Naples, and the other one is where? Do you remember? Brooks Burgers. I'm gonna look it up right now. Where's it?
Because I'm in Orlando, so I feel like I'm a lot closer than some people in another state or another country.
And let me see here. Locations. There is downtown Naples, and then the other one is in Vanderbilt Beach, North Naples.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sounds like a rental car beach trip type situation. Okay.
Yeah, and
cool.
you're gonna get apparently if you take a public picture, now Sam did say if you don't feel comfortable showing your face, you can just kind of show the burger of you eating it or something, or in a way that doesn't reveal your identity.
I don't care.
So 500 million.
Yeah.
500
I
million.
don't personally care. Sweet. Yeah, that was my main question. All the other stuff other people are asking and you've already talked on. So thanks for being thorough. Thanks for doing what y'all are doing.
Thank you.
And yeah.
I appreciate it. I can't wait. Let me know how it tastes because, man, it looks delicious.
For sure. Yeah, we'll do.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, y'all take it
too.
easy.
Enjoy your bike ride.
All right. Thanks.
Xavier, do you have a quick one? Quick question?
Yeah. The question that I have is for Rocket. Please, Rocket, can you educate me much on how the watch only wallet is going to be? Is it going to be from the Allah's wallet? Is it that you have to have the person's wallet, or you can easily go to a particular holding like EGC that you are holding? You now query those wallets and add it to your watch only, because it's a very good thing that you guys have added. It can even help somebody to convince another person on a particular token, and the person that is holding it. Is it going to be that you need to have this person's wallet before you can add it to watch only wallet, or you query the particular holding that you are holding and try to get those wallets there out to be a watch list in your watch list? So can you educate much on that, please?
Oh, I don't know if you made that out, Rocket, or if you were able to talk. From what end?
Could you repeat the question? Like, would be just the question part.
Okay, the question part is that Atlas Wallet will have a feature which I saw Sam tweeted, where you can watch others people's wallets, what they are holding and the tokens that they are holding. So now, as is the process, is it going to be that you need to first have the person's wallet, or you just go to the Atlas Wallet based on the maybe particular tokens and coin that you're holding? You now query the same people that are holding that wallet before you can add them as a watch list.
So it sounds like to me like, do you need their seed phrase or do you need their wallet address? Is that what you're asking?
No, I'm not asking as a seed phrase. I'm just talking about the wallet address. For you to add a particular wallet to your watch list, is it that you just go to the holding? Let's assume now, I'm holding EGC, and now go and query all the wallets that are holding EGCs, maybe top wallets now, and now add the ones that I like to my watch list. Or I need to have that particular wallet, I need to have the address first before I can add it to watch list. Why I'm asking that question is that if it is actually that I have to have the wallet first before I add it as watch list, what if somebody decides to hide his wallet? Do you understand me? Because the concept that we're bringing here is about transparency.
So you need to have the wallet address to watch it. No one can hide the wallet, right? You can go on the BSC scan and look at all the wallets that hold EGC. You can add any of them.
How will I know that particular, because any wallet that we have, like my wallet, and even though you go to that BSC scan, you will not see my name stamped there. It is a wallet.
Yeah, it's not going to change anything privacy-wise of the blockchain. If you will have the wallet address that, from the blockchain that you can use, but if you want someone's specific address, you need to know their address.
That makes sense.
So, yeah, if you want an individual person's address, they need to share that with you.
Yeah, there's no directory of holders in a sense.
Yeah, there's no directory or anything. But if you want to go on the BSC scan and say, all right, I want to follow the top 50 wallets, you can just add them. That's perfectly fine. You can add those wallets in. But it doesn't mean you'll know who they are, but you'll know their top 50 wallets.
One thing that I think is
I
pretty amazing though too
yeah.
is you get the notification when, let's say, if they add or or they sell or buy, which I think is great.
I just pray in the future we will have a kind of system that like this Evergrow now, that as far as you are one of the members that you are also holding Evergrow, you can also filter other people that are also holding Evergrow to track. It's not as if you want to do anything with the wallet bots to also, because it's something that just looking at the transparency level. It would have been also nice. So I pray
Specifically.
maybe.
So who specifically are you trying to track? I guess I don't understand. Because again, you would have
I
to
would have
have his wallet address. The
I would have added yours now and some people there now. It's not so. I would have added some people, some team there now.
Yeah, so I mean, the privacy of the blockchain is still going to be there, right? So Atlas Wallet isn't going to change. Let's say, for example, your wallet, right? Your wallet address is private to you. Even if I find your wallet on the blockchain, I won't know it's your wallet, and that's your right to not have that information shared, right? So I can watch your wallet without knowing it's your wallet. Yeah, so it depends why you're watching wallets, I guess is a big thing. If you're trying to track particular people, you just have to know that those people have, that
That's
wallet.
why it's so imperative that you don't share your balance of how many tokens you own, because let's just say you said to me, oh, I have 50,535,000,000. Then somebody could theoretically go through the list and find out your tokens and find you, and then they could associate you with that balance, right? And now you're an opportunity for phishing, potentially, right? Now that they know who you are, now it's like, okay, now I need to find out who this person is.
Yeah, one of the beauties of crypto is the anonymity, right? So you can keep your wallet private if you want to, where Web3 and NFTs kind of take a little bit of that away because it tends to be more public. Because when you have a non-fungible token, well, if you know who owns a particular NFT, well, you know their wallet. So yeah, it just depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah, I know everything about security and the privacy of blog. In fact, but the thing is that this is a view that I'm viewing. I'm not viewing as if I'm watching somebody's wallet. I want to do phishing or those things. But I'm looking. That why I'm saying like this. Some of the tokens, and if we have been also reading and a lot of things have been happening. You will see a top influencer now promoting a particular project. Maybe the project. I'm just taking an example. I know that's not what is in Evergreen. Now I'm promoting a sort of project, and that project I've given the person so much token, maybe pays the person in token, and you observe that this person is promoting the project that is buying, accumulating. But what is the person doing? Selling. Do you understand me now? But imagine now,
Sure.
maybe I have a view of that wallet now, what is happening now. I can easily maybe go there, drop a message. You are doing this, but you are not actually representing what you are saying. Do you understand
Sure.
now? It's just,
But the issue is privacy either has to be all or nothing, really, right? So let's say, for example, you're talking about like, I don't know, let's say Jake Paul is taking a bunch of tokens or something. Well, you have to know what his address is, right? Because otherwise, how could Atlas Wallet know what his address is? Unless it's public, right? And there's no way to know. Unless you're going to do some crypto forensics to kind of dig back into, in which case, that's your prerogative if you want to. But the wallet watching feature is just that, it's a feature. It lets you insert a wallet address and you can follow that wallet. But in terms of actually doing the research of who owns that wallet, like it's not a business we're getting into.
And keep in mind, a lot of the lawsuits
yeah.
that with the SEC in the states revolves around influencers that have been promoting projects and being rewarded with tokens and all that stuff. And they do that very thing. They promote, they spike the price, and then they sell into that market, right? The reason why they're being sued is because they weren't transparent about the deal that they made
Exactly.
with that particular token or NFT project. So that isn't a problem with the blockchain. That isn't a problem. What it is a problem with them not being transparent, which is why they're being sued. And so like even Kim Kardashian, she got kind of smacked in the hand for that. So that
Yeah, the Atlas wallet can do about that.
exactly,
That's
exactly,
it's not a what you're thinking of. What you're looking for is like a crypto forensics
exactly.
service,
Yeah,
and that's not Atlas wallet is not that.
you could, theoretically do your homework and all that stuff. But to be honest, it's more of I wouldn't honestly want the feature to be able to find out how many tokens Rocket has or CWP. It's frankly none of our business. That's the anonymity of DeFi. That's what we're looking for. That's why we're here, right? So I wouldn't want to change that. So, but you can still watch wallets, and if you see, a top 1,000 wallet, you want to keep an eye on them, and by all means, it doesn't tell you necessarily who they are unless they come out and say, "Hey, I have this X number of tokens," and then you can associate it with them. But I hope that answers your question. My apologies. It looks like Jordovic dropped out. My apologies for not getting too fast enough. Does anybody else have any questions? We're just going to open it up for open discussion. You guys have any questions while Rocket's here about Lucro or Evergrow or LunaSky or Atlas Wallet?
I have a comment on something you said earlier, Steve, that I found interesting, and that is about how Evergrow will spike when we start seeing 25 and 50% increases in the price of it. But leading up to that, and I don't think there's any way that Rocket or anybody else can quantify this, but regardless of the marketing campaign and regardless of how many influencers jump on board, what about all of us just little holders? Um, Speaking about the platform, about the apps, and how much influence will we actually have in the Twitterverse or other places um, with increasing the visibility and the price of EGC?
I don't know. You want to dip into that one, Rocket?
Yeah, absolutely. It's immeasurable, right? Because especially as there is price action leads to social action, right? So people see the price going up, they get excited, they feel good about it, they start talking about it again. When price goes down, they don't want to feel dumb because the price went down they were talking about, so they don't. So it really does, go with price action typically. But the biggest thing you can do if you want to contribute to that, multiplying effect of having other folks hear about just Evergrow organically is to grow your personal network. Reach out into social groups that you're not normally involved in, right? Folks that haven't heard about Evergrow. You don't have to shill to them, but just be part of the communities.
It's really interesting because a lot of influencers, crypto influencers, right? They're not just gonna start like promoting Evergrow or Lucro just because obviously they might like us, they might as a community, you might think, hey, you guys got a great community, you guys are great, but ultimately it's about I hate to say it, it's about money, right? Do they have the potential to make money off this, and is it in their interest to promote the project, right? I think we've demonstrated trust within Evergrow, community 100%, but the deliverables haven't been delivered yet. So once you start delivering on what you promised you were going to deliver, then that adds more credibility, and then price action potentially could follow, right? The more utilities, go ahead.
Definitely. Yeah, that's what, the things I'm excited to talk about are not token price. It's about LunaSky. It's about Atlas Wallet. It's about the things we've been working on. That's really what's exciting.
Yeah, and
the price action comes from the market, right? So if people like the things we've been working on and everybody gets excited about it, then yeah, there may be price action. But obviously, I can only speak so much to price action.
Exactly.
It's out of my hands.
And people wonder, well, okay, so let's say you have utilities, and then the next question is, well, how well are the utilities working, right? We always talk about Evergrow being this kind of center of this ecosystem, right? Can't think of a real better term for it, but spokes of a wheel, Evergrow's at the center, all these utilities around it that are supposed to generate revenue, which adds to, paying the bills for Evergrow, and then buyback and burn of Evergrow in order to reduce the circulating supply, which typically has a good price action movement, right? Because there's less to go around, people are buying, and all that stuff, right? So the more you burn, the likelihood of more price action generally. I mean, you look at a new token project, right? It starts off with 1 quadrillion, right? What's the first thing they usually do at the beginning? We're going to burn half our circulating supply, right? So the reason, I think, this is speculation on my part. Why do projects start off with such large amounts of tokens? And I think part of it is accessibility. A lot of people like the option of buying something at 8, 9, 10 zeros because the potential for 10xing, 100xing is very high versus starting off with a circulating supply of 100 million and then each token is $1, let's just say, right? You have $100 million market cap. So a lot of people, say, oh, it's too expensive. I don't want to buy just, 10 or 100 tokens of this. I want to be able to own 1 billion of this or, or 100 million of this. So I think that's just kind of how people are, right? There's huge rewards to be made. Go ahead, Rocket.
Yeah, no, it's a psychological thing, right?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, it doesn't really, matter what the actual number itself is. What matters is going to be market cap and liquidity.
Exactly.
That's all at the end of the day.
And you look at the most actively traded tokens, meme or not meme. They generally have a pretty decent community following. They see the potential of that particular token in terms of maybe whatever they're working on in terms of utilities, whatever, right? So as long as we can do the same thing and, have our utilities making profit and deliver on what we said we're going to deliver, then I think the market will respond favorably. So yeah, I think it's
especially coming out of the bear market.
Exactly.
Just because there's so many, because really here's the thing, right? Every project going to the bear market said the same thing. We're going to build through the bear market, and we're going to have these products. And what's going to really set everything apart is who's actually built anything, right? When it's said and done, who has stayed solvent, and then has a product at the end of it, right, to make it into the bull market. That's going to be what's going to really set projects apart.
And one thing that I think that sets Evergrow apart night and day is the fact that the CEO is saying, I'm going to prove to you how much money we've made by being transparent. I think that was something I've never heard before. I've heard a lot of them make promises. Oh yeah, we'll be transparent and all that stuff. But here we have somebody that came from traditional finance and has a clear understanding of transparency and following the rules and and all that stuff. And they're bringing that experience over to crypto, which is exactly what we need. That's what I think will set us apart. Deliver and then be transparent and then do what we said we're going to do.
Yeah, I think another big way to look at it is, we just went through essentially one cycle, right? The projects that are going to be relevant in the next cycle won't all be the same ones that were relevant last cycle, right? And so having a utility, having built something, puts you in the running to be the project come the bull market. But let's say you've gone through the bear market and you have nothing to show for it. I mean, there's always going to be some new shiny thing to take precedence, and you have to have something.
And you think of in a bear market, right? When times are tough, what most crypto projects do is they sell their tokens into the market in order to fund their project. Totally understand it. Makes sense. They need money to operate, right? You have operating expenses. But if you can generate utilities to do that, there's no need to sell your tokens. If anything, it encourages you to hold, and it adds shareholder or token holder value. So that's why a lot of projects fail, because they just can't survive. They don't have the operating capital, and then they have to sell trillions of their own token into the market, which tanks the price, and they drain the liquidity, and that's that.
Yeah, most projects weren't prepared for the bear market, and they weren't prepared for it to last this long. I remember the AMA where Sam actually declared we were in a bear market, and everyone was furious because they're saying, "Oh, why is he fudding it?" Right? We're still in the bull market. We're going to the moon, and he was pretty much saying, "No, yeah, we're in a bear market, right? We need to start being more cautious with spending and everything." And he turned out to be very, very, very right. And I think a lot of projects didn't have that kind of foresight and didn't expect this to go on this long. And they're not going to have the funding. They may not have the funding now. There's a lot of just phantom projects out there that are saying nice things on socials, but they've got nothing underneath of it.
remember last January of 2022, we saw a really good spike. And January is usually typically a very good month for crypto in general. Where I don't know what it is, it's just kind of this pattern, right? And I think Sam came in not long after that, and he was saying that, wasn't it? Was it around January to February of last year? Or was it before
I
that?
think it was before that. It was when the bear market started, right? So we were, man, I feel like it was the summer.
Oh, maybe it was further back than that.
It was our first summer. It was sometime in our first summer or fall.
Was that when
and
after
Sam
FTX
called
and all that stuff?
No, it was before all
Oh,
that.
okay.
Way before that. Yeah. And Sam pretty much called the bear market just in general, not just crypto, but just the general bear market. And yeah, folks were not happy about it when he said it, but man, he was right.
Yeah, I think
Like, yeah, give the man credit.
Paul was arguing with Sam about opening up the purse strings and spending some money, and
Probably. Probably.
good stuff. I'm going to read a couple comments here real quick. Let's see here. Take me a minute here. Libby Ann said, "I've never bought crypto on a credit card until yesterday, but I need more at under 403. I'm guessing that's Lucro. Let's see. I don't know who made coins this. Good evening, everyone. Live on Evergrow Steve's podcast. Thank you for that. Appreciate it." And Matt Healy says, 104. Hey, Steve, this is not an advertisement, but I recently downloaded an app called Make Money. Thank you. I appreciate that. Good luck with that. Let's see what else I can find here. I thought I saw something from Frank. Let me see if Frank's got... I don't see anything. Okay. I must have missed it.
Frank wanted to know what he'd missed.
Yeah. Oh, well, here it is. He did it in the LunaSky Creator Core. Frank says, "I slept in today and missed the first 30 minutes of Steve Space. Were any dates given or rough dates for release?" They'll go back to what Sam said. Q3 is where it all happens. And he basically, that's it. It's all going to happen in this quarter. So LunaSky first, then staking probably, and then again interchangeable Lucro Games, and then Atlas Wallet. But there's kind of Atlas Wallet maybe before Lucro Games. So yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I'm pretty solidly with Cody's time frame. I think he's on point with that.
Anything you want to say, Rocket, about LunaSky and kind of your experience? You don't even have to go to details or anything like that, but how this process has been for you, especially towards the end.
Man, it's been amazing. Because even when I was more of a mod or community manager, you have some insight to things that are going on, how it works, but it's always like, oh, come on, just get it out here already. Just seeing what goes into it and how a mammoth like LunaSky is built, it gives me a lot more respect for the process. It's been something, and yeah, we're finally just about there. Really exciting.
Good feeling.
It's amazing. It's yeah.
How? On a
slight annoyance that we're not done yet, right? I'm also slightly annoyed, but yeah. Full disclosure, I was hoping we'd be out be done by Q2, but just a few tail things there to deal with. But yeah, I'm pretty excited.
How, on a more personal note, how has it been for your family working? Because this is not your only gig. How has it been with the amount of work you've been putting in? How have they handled it?
It's been tough, It's it's been challenging. It's been challenging, but yeah, we're just about there.
And after
then, take a nap or something.
Yeah, for sure. And after, you well-deserved nap.
Thank you.
And after, it's not just going to be once you release V2, it's not just going to be kicking back over to Cabo San Lucas, right?
No, I wish. It's the update, right? We got to get the first update in. I already have a list of things that I want. I do have a grand vision for LunaSky and all the things I want to be able to do. And so that's going to be happening through rolling updates after launch.
Nice.
So it's just going to be a short nap for you?
Yeah, a couple hours just to kind of get my bearings, I think is in order.
You're pretty involved as an NFT artist. You still plan on doing that? Some of the stuff that you made, I thought was It's pretty spectacular. Do you plan on still venturing into that?
Yeah, I miss it. I miss it a lot. I haven't been able to spend a lot of time, almost any time, um, creating anything. So I'm looking forward to having LunaSky live so I can start focusing on my craft again.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Do you mind speaking about one of the NFTs that I thought were the most interesting, and that was like kind of the evolving NFT. I don't know what the proper name.
Oh yeah, that was a fun idea.
That is when you would, and if you guys aren't familiar, so what would happen is Rocket would release an NFT, right? And as soon, can you go into like what would happen? So I'd rather you tell if it's okay.
So essentially, I released one NFT. Every time it was sold, it would mutate into something different. Sort of an evolution of it. It was a lot of fun to kind of go through that to folks, and the whole reasoning behind it, right? It was a fun idea, but really it was to try to create some secondary market volume. Because the way that the beta is structured, it's just, man, it's just not really meant for it. Like it doesn't work well, right? It's not really easy to find things. Um, so I was trying to find a creative way to get the secondary market volume going. But now, that won't even really be necessary anymore because the way that the new platform is designed, it's made to be an NFT launchpad and marketplace.
What are the limits to an NFT of that style, that genre?
The limits? What do you mean limits?
Well, how many, if you bought and sold it 100 times, so let's say 200 times, would it evolve 100 to 200 times?
I mean, I was willing to do that for folks if it's sold that many times, but it was all being done manually. I was doing everything manually. There's no special tech behind that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I was just doing that just to, if someone bought it from me, hey, maybe in the hopes that the new evolution would be cool, someone would pay them more for it and they could make some money.
But there's
So it was fun.
with the technology, especially I think Ethereum is kind of working on NFTs within NFTs and potentially crypto within NFTs. There's really so many options.
There's a lot of cool tech out there, and there's a lot of and the beauty of it is once we have LunaSky launched, it is so well made from a structural standpoint that we can start incorporating these things over time.
Very cool.
Right, because the way the beta was set up, it was just it just wasn't good enough to really scale properly.
Right. I appreciate it.
But it was the beta, right? It was the beta. It was we got a lot of good data from that.
You learn from it.
A lot about
exactly.
Rocket, one of the other coins that I hold, the company itself just put out an NFT. I thought that was a really cool idea. Is there any chance that Evergrow will put out an NFT besides the contest?
Could, right? I mean, we could, but there's, I guess we could, but we don't want necessarily to be the focus of the marketplace, right? I think that collection is kind of it's kind of a legacy collection. I'm sure maybe at some point we'll do something, but not to that scale.
Do you think it would be too gimmicky to have a?
Yeah, like I'd rather, personally, I'd rather focus on promoting other people's collections rather than our own, right? I think it's just
something to be said about the community.
I think we have the Evergrow Man collection. We don't really need necessarily to, go too deep into that. I think at some point it'd be cool to do something else, but market conditions will really depend there. Right, the market can bear it, then yeah, sure.
So like with Bored Ape, you know what I mean? Like they had their own NFT collection, right? And obviously they made a lot of money doing that. I think a lot of people say, well, why can't we replicate that, right?
It's lightning in the bottle, right? Because they were not a crypto project that became an NFT that launched an NFT collection. They were an NFT project. Like it was all about that collection. Exactly. And we're all about many other things. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It depends on the market. Depends on the market.
Great question.
But there's nothing stopping, anyone on the call from launching a collection that could be the next Bored Ape Yacht Club on LunaSky.
Exactly.
I mean, why not?
And being on the V2 platform, I mean, based on what I'm seeing, it's visually much more appealing. That's for sure, and functionally.
Oh yeah, and the big thing is it's so easy to to find things, right? And to be able to buy
Mhm.
things, which is really important. And then just having a proper minting process, because the current token standard we're using, which is it's nice for one-off pieces and everything, it's not ideal for building a collection.
Right.
And so really no one that had any serious intentions of building a collection would be able to launch anything on LunaSky because it just wouldn't work the way they need it to. The way, for example, the Evergrow Man NFT collection was launched, that's a more traditional way of doing it,
Interesting.
right? The ERC 721 token.
Interesting.
And that's going to be what we're going to be facilitating for anyone to be able to do the same thing on LunaSky.
I appreciate you being candid. That's, yeah.
Yeah, no, and I told you, right? Like at the end of the day, we're so close right now. There's not much I'm really keeping secret, unless it's like marketing specific and could mess something up. Yeah, you asked the right questions. We'll give you answers.
I appreciate it.
That's on you, Steve. That's on you.
Xavier, thanks for being patient. Do you have another question?
Yeah, is like a question and also suggestion. If I was or I happen to be the team in this team, one of the things that I would have suggested is that can we ever look at breaching this Evergrow coin to be on Ethereum network? Because I see so much potential. If this we can have a bridge version of this EGC on Ethereum network, it will be a very good thing and can also attract a lot of new holders and also wider exposure. I don't know, do we ever consider that going forward? But it would have been a very nice piece of this thing. If it can happen maybe on the eve of launching utilities, it would have been a very nice campaign. But it's just a suggestion, sure.
Yeah, so I mean, I could see at some point it could make sense. Obviously, I can't speak for Sam. Like this it would be a team decision, but right now it's too risky because when if you think about all the exploits in crypto, like man, 99% of them are bridges. Whenever you're trying to bridge to another token, that bridge it's a huge vulnerability, and it's too risky right now, in my opinion.
Good question.
Would I like to have an ETH token? Yeah, that'd be cool. But again, in the middle of the bear market, I don't think it's worthwhile yet. So that's one of those things I definitely would, if it was going to be done, push that back to a bull market. But the risk factor is huge, massive.
Good question. I appreciate it. Let's see if we got any other questions here. Let's see. Johnny Five-ish. Hey guys, looking forward to AAA utilities. No half-baked stuff like LunaSky Beta. Cheers. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it too. And to be honest, I'll be fair. I mean, I didn't think the beta was all that bad, but I'm not a hardcore user either. So
the thing, right? Our community, because it was ours, right? It's our beta, and I felt the same way. Like I loved it. Uh, a mother will never find their child ugly, right? It was ours. There were bugs and there were issues, and we just kind of worked around it, and it didn't do some things. We're like, hey, just close wallet connect 12 times, and you can, mint the NFT, and we did it,
yeah,
right? Because it was fun and it was ours, right? But we're getting something way more polished now.
I think the scalability is there, right? Versus
yeah.
Frank NFTs.
I was the person that was never going to collect NFTs, and then LunaSky came out, and I now have over 200 NFTs in my collection.
Wow,
fantastic. It just maybe think about that too. If you guys NFTs are great, keep them separate from your crypto. Don't keep them in the same wallet. Just a little bit of advice. I personally, I'm terrible about it. I've got about a dozen or so, but yeah, that's just it.
Yeah, it's never a bad idea, especially it's more so a risk when you're minting on these small, kind of project mint sites. Sometimes a project will launch an NFT and they create their own mint page for it. It's really the huge risk, right? That's where you're making a brand new wallet for that, and then assuming that it's going to be wiping your whole wallet. but keeping your NFTs separate from your crypto is just, I mean, keeping everything as separate from each other as you can is ideal, just so that you limit your risk. Because, like we heard earlier, hold on, baby's mad.
No problem. Frank NFTs, how you doing, man?
Not too bad, brother.
Good.
Yourself?
I was going to ask you about your PFP. I really like it.
I just want to talk about the beta version. Like, I've been using it since day dot, and I find it quite easy to use. And compared to OpenSea and others, you know, I think it's quite good. I mean, I can't wait to see what new LunaSky is going to be. But yeah, I've got no qualms about it. It's quite good.
That says something, you know, when the beta, our beta is, for all of its limitations, is still better than OpenSea.
Oh yeah, by far. OpenSea is just too convoluted, you know, seriously. I mean, anyone with an IQ of a brick couldn't get through OpenSea.
I appreciate it. Do you have any questions for Rocket while we got him?
Nah, it's going to be the same old hurry up and release.
What did you think of Sam's tweet about the Q3?
I made it quite clear on Telegram that we've heard it all before. So
you've been so shy about your criticism. It's totally cool, man. I don't take offense to it at all. And even Sam said,
I don't take offense.
You know what I mean? Like, we wish it could be different, but it isn't. And we said it's going to be this, and it hasn't been. It's legitimate criticism. I guess I choose.
I've been holding since 26th of September. So
wow, you got it early.
I'm not going anywhere. But you know, it's the old saying is true. You know, what is it? Talk to talk and walk to walk.
Good stuff.
And it's time to deliver. And you know, I'll never step back from saying, "Hey, we've heard this before, and it's happening again." And if it goes into Q4, then boy, we're in trouble.
I don't think it's gonna be like that, but that's just me. I'm an optimist. But do you have, out of curiosity, do you have a collection that you're saving for V2?
No, I just keep putting them up. It doesn't bother me with beta or V2 because it's all going to move over. So, but you know, I'm thinking of doing something. I don't know if anyone saw on Rocket's Mid-Journey thing. I did a couple of things about Norse gods and, you know, basically how they were created. So little playing cards. I'm toying around with that. So
cool.
We'll see what happens.
So it looks like, let's see, Purple Art Evergrow says Symbots, a serious collection. I can't wait to get the collection on LunaSky NFT. Interesting. I've never seen that collection before. It's very interesting. Cool. See any other comments? That's it for now. Well, I appreciate you saying that, Frank. And I personally don't take offense to the criticism. And that's one thing I appreciate about the team is that they own it, and they're like, you know what? It's okay to be. It's not like you're fudding. You know what I mean? You're saying it like it is, and
he's absolutely right. I mean, you know, just being real. Like, you know, the talk means nothing at this point, right? Nothing. There's nothing I can say to make anyone feel any better about launch times. Like, it is what it is. But again, I'll say it again, but it's coming soon. It genuinely is. And so you just have to wait till it's out so you can see that we were right about it. That's all I can say.
And hopefully everybody will be pleasantly surprised.
And just have faith until it happens.
Exactly.
Yep.
So anybody else have anything they want to bring up to, you know, I'm glad you're here, Rocket. I appreciate it. I think Paul's still napping. He likes to get his naps in. And but if you have any questions, now's the time to ask. I think we're actually, out of curiosity, I'd like to have, since we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, Rocket, where do you see the next 3 months going in terms of the market? If you were to take a shot in the dark, kind of a macro, what would you say? Okay, maybe you can't talk. How about Bard? Oh, sorry.
I'm wrestling a child.
Okay, no worries.
Repeat that for me.
So, where do you see kind of the crypto market going in the next, let's say, next quarter to and Q4?
I mean, looking into my crystal ball, I think it's going to be about the
You think
same.
so? Okay.
I just think it's going to be, there's going to be volatility. So, we'll go up. Everybody thinks we're in the bull market. Then we'll come back down. Everybody assumes that, the bears will last another year. And then we go back up. It's just going to be kind of sideways chop for the year, I think, personally. But could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm thinking end of August we're going to see a run, and the big run is going to be March timeframe. Looking at the halving.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm thinking, right? Just we're kind of in that historically relevant time for price action.
Interesting. Father Mulcahy said bear market will exist for another 12 months when we have time to build and build it right. I mean, nobody likes bear markets, but it's a really good opportunity to build. And then when the bull market does return, you're in a much, much better position. I think a lot of people were scared that we weren't going to be ready for when utilities launch, that, the bull market would hit, we wouldn't have our utilities out, and we would get left behind. That's the sentiment that I got from.
I mean, when we had this meme rally in Ethereum, that got a little scary for me. I was like, oh man, did we miss the boat?
Yeah.
Like, is this the start? Are we have to scramble? Yeah, and that's just how it's going to feel, I think, for the rest of the year, right? It's going to be, oh man, we're on the cusp of going to the moon, and then, oh man, crypto's dead, it's over. It's just going to be back and forth for the rest of the year.
What do you think, CWP?
I think that this bear market is a great time to build, and also a super great time to buy and build your bags of the coins that you think are going to 10x, 100x, or even 1000x, because they are out there. And I think, not advice, but I think that EGC is one of those coins.
Yeah. If you were to, not financial advice, whatever, but what are your, just curious, like, what are were a couple tokens, a handful of tokens that you think really have a lot of promise? Or even like coins.
I'm not going to go out onto that limb.
Okay.
I'll go on a limb. I'm going to say it's going to be Lucro. And the reason why I say that is we're going to see outstanding utilities come out this year. And I'm not just talking about the ones that are on the surface.
There you go. I love that bullish sentiment. I love Lucro. I've said this, so many times, man. You guys are probably tired of hearing it, but I love Lucro. I love that it's a low circulating supply. I love that it just moves on air as, who is it that's coined that phrase? It's Trail South. That thing, I mean, we had like 50,000 in volume, peanuts, and we saw it go up 26% on like 48,000 in volume. So that should tell you something. Like, you get a good move one day of $250,000, $500,000, and this thing could like really take off. So, not financial advice.
Your question, I interpreted as outside of the Evergrow ecosystem, which is what I demurred on. But yes, I 100% agree with the sentiment about Lucro. Yeah. It's going to be amazing.
I think so too. And the way I plan it in my head is that Lucro is going to be the first to take off, and I'm going to take my profits, and then I'm going to sink some right into Evergrow, because that's going to be the next one that's going to go. So that's just kind of how I see it. What do you think, Xavier? Are you a Lucro Evergrow maxi, or do you have other tokens that you're watching real close and you have a lot of faith? I don't know. Maybe you fell asleep. How about you, Frank? Are you Oh, looks like we lost him.
No, I hold Lucro and EGC and a couple of others.
Nice.
But EGC is my biggest hold. Followed, I mean, if you want, I can mention Saitama 2.0 and Lucro.
Yeah.
So.
Did you?
There's a possible chance that Elon could come out with some kind of Doge push, integrating it with Twitter. But, there's been a lot of rumor of him using his own crypto, so we'll have to see.
I'm surprised he hasn't done it already, to be honest. That he's into crypto. Why not make his own Tesla token? It would it's already got name recognition. Might as well take advantage, right?
I mean, he already has so many buddies at the SEC. Should be easy to push there.
There you go. Exactly. Right on. Yeah, I think that's anyway. That's where my money is Lucro first, and then after that it's Evergrow. But I think Evergrow has kind of always been a slow starter. Part of this double-edged sword is our liquidity. It's kind of like we have a lot of liquidity, and so the price doesn't move as much, I think, as Lucro does. Even though I think was at 300,000 in liquidity for Lucro, so it's kind of it's good to have a lot of liquidity, but you don't get the same kind of price action you do when somebody does a $10,000, $12,000 buy. It doesn't move as much, so that could be for some people it'd be like, oh man, like we have these big buys, but the price is not really doing as much as I want it to do. So that could, maybe people are not as enthusiastic about it. But when you see a big green candle,
numbers back in the early days, right, when we had much lower liquidity pool, it was wild.
Yes,
it was aggressive. Yeah. It was again like Lucro feels, right?
Yeah, it was a big adrenaline rush. You're seeing these big candles,
The way Lucro feels is how Evergrow was early on.
Exactly.
Just the way it moved.
What do you think the magic number is in terms of liquidity to find that balance?
Ooh, that's a tough question. That is a question for someone a lot smarter than me.
Right on. Yeah, it's kind of. I think Lucro is like, again, with those. It has good liquidity, but not too much that you see it move quickly. So yeah, I'll go ahead and give a quick shout out to some people. Rick B. I see Hawkish dropped in. Thanks for everything you do, Hawkish. Really appreciate it. Onyx and Zelda. Thank you so much. Love that thing you're working on. I won't get into details on it, but it looks fantastic. And in Sam we trust. Old crypto dudes. Thanks for dropping in, man. Hero and Hassan. Good to see you, man. Haven't seen you in wasn't been a week or so. And Kenny. Who else? Follow McKay, of course. Gracious. Good to see you too. And Drakefist and the Shy William Blake. Kate T. Thanks for dropping in today. And who else I see here? Peekaboo Jesus. Who else we got here? Evergrow Nicoin and Bio Cooler. Thanks for dropping in. Got a good group today. Anybody, again, questions? I don't have a lot more to talk about today in terms of the space.
I do just want a quick reminder. Any creators that have collections on LunaSky, if you want a little more insight on what you can do to kind of maximize the coming transition migration, like get into the creator course. If you're not a member, that's my boy there. Please shoot Rocket a DM and I'll get you in there, because I'll be kind of giving some tips there for folks.
Appreciate it very much.
I want to comment on the ambient noise from some of the people on here, and I say noise and put that in quotes. I love hearing the dogs. I love hearing the babies. It makes all of you much more real to me. So never apologize for family, especially as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. Got real lives, real people, right?
I'm always very self-conscious about, so I know my audio tends to be awful. And so when my baby decides to give a monologue like that, it's I was really hard knowing that is to everybody.
I appreciate you sharing, your life with us. Appreciate it very much. Yeah. Well, guys, I don't really have anything else that I'm going to really cover today. But again, that's why I give you the opportunity to come in and speak if you have something to talk about in terms of what you're looking forward to. I know for me, it's Atlas Wallet #1. And I really want to stake my Evergrow and earn some rewards on it. I really am looking forward to when Lucro is done on Brew Labs, because I'd love to see if the team will take some of their Lucro tokens and open it up for staking on our site rather than on Brew Labs. Nothing against Brew Labs; they do a great job. Just I'd rather keep it in house personally. Hey, Savior, you have one more before we run for the day. Thank you, Father. I appreciate it. Love you. Appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Okay,
Savior,
what I wanted to ask is that as we are going with the kind of impact that Lucro is even having now in the bear markets, If we are having more volumes and big exchanges decided to want to list Lucro, will we go back to centralized exchanges for Lucro listing?
I've heard Sam talk about that. Rocket, if you want to add to it.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of qualifiers there, right? So it would need to be a big exchange to be worth the time, right? Because we know that how it is with some of these smaller exchanges, they play a lot of games, and so for it to be worth it, it needs to be a large exchange. It's got to be one of the big ones. Yeah, I don't think we're totally opposed to it if it's one of the big ones. But yeah, that's what it would take, I think.
So you think of some of the Beam tokens that have gone in a very, very short period of time from launch to right to crypto.com. That is not an accident. That was carefully planned. Sorry about that, guys. UPS man is the enemy. Queenie. So, yeah, so that was a very, very choreographed thing that happened. So I totally agree with Rocket. And I think if it's one of those things where we have an option to, this is just me speaking, it would have to be the right exchange, and it would have to be the right time.
If Binance reached out to us and said, "Hey, you want to go ahead and hop on there?" I'm like, "Oh, yes, of course we would."
Yeah.
I don't think we would turn Binance down, right? But yeah, it'd have to be a big exchange. It has to be worthwhile. Would be a thing because we've been burned by these little exchanges over the last goodness a couple of years, I guess, at that point. But
and you got to think too, like, what is it? Exchanges don't just randomly take tokens for no reason.
no.
What's in it for them, right? And so they're going to see, like, okay, let's just say it's Lucro. They're going to say, okay, well, Lucro is getting a lot of volume. They got a big community. They're trading they're trading, who knows, $1 billion a day in volume, hypothetically, right? They're going to want a piece of that because that's how they make money.
Yeah, and it's really just volume and volume money, right? So they'll want cash up front unless you're doing like crazy volume, in which case, I mean, they'll just list you on their own, right? So yeah, we'll see. If the right ones come along, like we're not opposed to it, but it's got to be a big exchange and it has to benefit us,
Right.
because there are costs to maintaining a listing, and a lot of folks don't realize that. I didn't realize that beforehand, but it's not free to have a listing and exchange.
Yeah.
You have to hire a market maker to actually make sure that folks can buy their tokens at a reasonable price. It's a lot involved in it.
Then there's the question of global tokenomics, right? That 1%.
Sure.
That 1% is the part of the arrangement of what we have. That Lucro is 80% of that goes towards Evergrow, right?
Exactly.
So if you take that equation out and say, okay, we're going to allocate, hypothetically, let's say there's 100 billion tokens. Let's say 200 million gets allocated to. I'm going to say, just hypothetically, 200 million gets allocated to a centralized exchange. Now it's like, now that's not, global tokenomics doesn't take effect anymore. The rewards should have to be make up for that, in a sense of where the price action would be so good, right?
And also, the main reason, at least in the last bull market, was to have a centralized exchange was so that your average, Joe Schmo could go on there with a, buy crypto, whatever your crypto was, without having to jump through the DeFi hoops. Right. But, with Atlas Wallet, if we can have all that kind of squared away, it just becomes less necessary to have a centralized exchange. Because all you have to do is tell your friend, hey, download this app and, put in your credit card and buy the crypto you want. It's just the same thing. The experience will be similar.
And then there's the example of, okay, well, now you made it easy. Now you just got to get the word out, and that's where the market comes in.
Exactly. And again, in a bull market, that's easy, right? Yeah. Like in a bull market, you sneeze and you're up 30%. That's nothing.
So yeah, there's
just FYI on CoinGecko, Lucro sales over the last 24 hours are up 25% over EGC. And I think that pretty much underlines this whole discussion.
Yeah. And it makes sense that's happening, right? Because obviously the utilities are close. Folks realize that. They're trying to front run the news of launch dates or anything. And so that's expected. It makes sense.
Yeah, on the I'm just looking back on 4th of July, we had 56,000 in volume, and then it went down to around 20,000 in volume, then 26,000, then 14,000, and today it's not a full day yet, but 5,000. So still an uptrend. There's more buys than there are sells, which makes sense, like you said. People are kind of basically buying ahead of the news, right? Buy ahead of the release, which is smart. So yeah. Well, guys, I don't really have anything to add other than I just wanted to thank you guys for being here today. Really appreciate it. It's a little shorter space than normal, but that's okay. Hopefully, as we get closer, it'll be the first week of July now, so I'm really hoping we're going to see something in the next couple of weeks. But hey, no dates have been given. Just know that it's soon, right? I want to thank you, Rock, for being candid with us.
Yeah, my pleasure. And like I said, just feel free to ask me. I mean, if it's a big question, I guess ask it publicly so everybody can get the answer kind of at the same time. But yeah, as far as LunaSky, we're so close. There's not much we're really keeping secret except for specific marketing things that'll be rolling out.
Thank you very much.
Steve, I just want to say thank you very much for meetup number 46. Back in the beginning, when I co-hosted with you a few times, did you ever think that you would be on number 46? Um, and I think it's absolutely great, and we all owe you a a deep gratitude for all of your work.
I appreciate it. Now, it's funny. I never really thought about it, to be honest. I never thought it was going to be 20 or 100. It just never really occurred to me. I just kind of took it one week at a time. My whole goal of being here was just to bring you guys together, to basically, we have a community here, and we have a great community, and I wanted to protect it. I'm pretty protective of the Evergrow community. So, and you guys are all amazing, which is why I'm doing it. So, and I'll keep doing it because you guys are just amazing.
I hope one day your podcast will start with and this show sponsored by Squarespace, and it'll be worth your while.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool if it was. Yeah, yeah.
They're sponsoring everybody these days. Shouldn't be too tough.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see what happens, but that would be pretty cool. Yeah, I appreciate your kind words, or State of BP. It's it takes this kind of community of coming together and doing many little things. Some that are more consequential than others. By you taking the reins with the LunaSky Instagram page at the very beginning, you stepped up to the plate and you said, like, hey, I'm going to try and do this. And you said to me, Steve, can you give me a hand with this? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And Cody and Rocket were there, and they were like, like, if you guys want to contribute, thank you for doing that, right? And then you kind of went your own direction too with Pinterest and all that stuff, and it's just kind of like Bard's doing his thing, and and here we got we got Brooks Burgers over in Naples making burgers, and and it's just all of these things that come together that just show how cohesive we are as a community, and that's why I'm here, because you guys are great, you guys are fantastic, and I can only imagine where we'll be in a year from now with all these other things that are going on that we don't even know about. The seeds have already been, are already there, and we just got to wait for it to happen. And I appreciate everybody's passion for the project too. I know it's kind of one of those things where, we're here every week and we're just kind of talking about the project and all the utilities and all that stuff. But everybody has this real drive and passion for the project. And I think that is just something that just does not exist in a lot of other projects. If you find it, you're very, very lucky. And so, yeah, thank you guys. I really, really appreciate it. You guys are so supportive. We'll go ahead and say goodbye for this week anyway. Rocket, thank you for taking the time to be here. I appreciate it very much. And Bard as well, thank you for being here. CWP, iSavior, Frank NFTs, thank you for the questions. I really, really appreciate it. I want to say, hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. And let's do this again next Saturday. Same time, same place. Have a great day for now, guys. Thank you. And bye for now.